Welcome to today's episode of Heard and Seen Around. I am Rajesh Karipurath. This is my take on macroeconomic and geoeconomic data points which I find interesting. I hope you enjoy watching it as much as I enjoyed curating it. Cheers.
Artificial intelligence cannot fix the natural stupidity of a broken printer. Caps lock is a great way to make people think you are yelling. A good programmer is someone who looks both ways before crossing a one-way street. I put my phone on airplane mode, but it just sat there on the table. I look at my phone to check the time, then look away without knowing the time.
There is a notable shift happening in the world's biggest bond market. Japan cut its Treasury holdings by $123 billion since February, taking them down to $1.12 trillion. China has gone even further structurally, with holdings falling to $633 billion, the lowest since 2008. Overall, foreign Treasury holdings fell $72 billion in June alone, even as long-term US yields are sitting near multi-year highs. And that matters because the US needs enormous amounts of financing. For all the talk about energy transition, coal is still the heavyweight champion of global electricity. The IEA's 2026 estimate puts coal generation at 10,974 terawatts, roughly one-third of all global electricity. Natural gas is a distant second at 6,976 terawatts. Yes, solar and wind are growing rapidly, but here's the inconvenient bit. The world is adding renewables faster than ever, while still leaning heavily on coal to keep the lights on. Here is a manufacturing statistic that deserves more attention. Women now account for more than one-third of India's manufacturing workforce, nearly 23 million workers. But the map gets even more interesting. In Telangana, Arunachal Pradesh and Manipur, women make up more than half of manufacturing employment. Odisha, West Bengal and Andhra Pradesh are also approaching gender parity. Much of this employment is concentrated in textiles and apparel, with BD manufacturing another major employer in some states. India's startup funding may have cooled, but DeepTech clearly did not get the memo. Funding hit a record $2.96 billion across 189 deals in 2025, taking DeepTech's share of India's total VC funding up to 36%, up from just 14% in 2016. And the money is increasingly chasing hard technology. AI and generative AI led with $2.88 billion, while EVs and batteries attracted another $1.48 billion. The really interesting part, India isn't just funding the next app anymore, it's increasingly funding the technology underneath the next industrial revolution. Here's a rather spectacular reminder that the biggest money in sport isn't always made on the field. Michael Jordan leads the all-time list with $4.5 billion in inflation-adjusted career earnings, a staggering $1.6 billion more than Tiger Woods, and almost twice Cristiano Ronaldo's $2.52 billion. And the remarkable part, Jordan retired from football more than 2 decades ago, yet his brand keeps paying him. He reportedly earned around $275 million from Jordan brand alone in 2025. India has just achieved a rather unusual distinction. It's now the least favored Asian stock market among global fund managers, with a net 32% underweight in the latest BofA survey. That sounds bearish, but it could also be the setup for something more interesting. India is only around 3% of the global market capitalization, yet its economy is growing much faster than that share suggests. Meanwhile, foreign ownership of Indian equities has fallen to a 17-year low.